G'day guys, welcome back to VTA. If you saw the last episode, you'll see we got the engine back in the 25. I'm going to start chipping away at putting it back together. Okay, so we'll have a closer look here. Basically what we need to do here is the row of bolts that goes all the way along the side of the chassis. There's the cover that goes over here, which is sitting on the bench somewhere. And there's the row of bolts that goes around the back here. Same row of bolts on the other side. Got to put the brake and whatnot on. Yeah, so that's about it. I've got some bolts here. There's a tin of bolts over there on the bench. Yeah, and then once it's in, once that's all bolted up, we can look at putting things back on, like the pulley. I also have to, you can't really see in there, but I've also got to do up the oil line that attaches, that's the oil pickup that goes to the bottom of the sump. Yeah, so once we do that, then start putting things like the head back on. Yeah, start working at that. So I'm going to get into it. I'm probably not going to film a lot of what I'm doing because most of it's just bolting things on, but I'll give you some updates as I get a bit more done. So, getting all these bolts in is a challenge. With the new seals and stuff, it just doesn't want to sit down where it's meant to. So some of these bolts are threaded, and then some are just holes where you put a bolt through from the backside and put the nut on. So the holes that are just blank, that don't have threads in it, I was able to use pry bar. As you can see, jack with a podgy bar to help us line it up. So I've now got all the bolts in, which is good. I was having a lot of trouble getting them in. Now I should be able to just take that out and the bolt should go in easily because the other bolts there to hold it straight. And I'll go around the other side and get stuck into that. So the bolts down each side of the engine are all in. There's a few there that are still loose, but I'll tighten them up. This here is where the steering box mounts. And that one there is the actual fuel tank for the starting tank. The mounts go straight up here. The round fuel tank mounts sort of up here. So, and then of course the main tank just sits on that support there. So I also did the park brake. So we slipped it off because it was really only held on just as it sat on the on that pivot shaft there. So I just slipped it off while we put the actual engine in. And then there's two guides. One here, and if I can get it on camera, that one there actually also supports wherever my finger is, that section there, which is actually the ratchet section. Holds that all still and holds it all in place. That clearance is a little tight. I actually had to get the grinder out and take some material off so that it all fits nicely. It might have to wear in a little bit, but it'll be fine. Obviously our brake lining material is a little thicker than the original. But other than that, the park brake is on, a couple of split pins to finish it. Yeah, so I'm getting pretty close to probably wanting to put the cylinder head on and just try and button up as much of the engine as I can. And then we'll talk about guards and I've got to put the top back on the gearbox and a bunch of other things. So probably the engine is now what I want to start buttoning up. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to put the head back on. Obviously, we've done a lot of work in the previous videos to rebuild the cylinder head. It's been sitting there wrapped up ever since then. This is the head gasket that came off. I know everyone's going to say that you don't reuse head gaskets, you're nuts. Well, we've done it plenty of times, and I'm not sure where I'd get a new one. So this one will do the job. What we do is use a bit of this Hylimer spray and put a good coat onto both sides of the head gasket. I think from memory, haven't used it in a while, but I'm pretty sure you got to let it set for a few minutes to tack up, and then get into it that way, and then put it all together. So the plan will be spray the head gasket, let it tack up, put it all together, and get to torquing the head down. Okay, so here we're going to torque the head down. Pretty simple. You probably don't need to watch me do it, but just do the basic sort of rotation out from the center. So I'll start at this bolt, work my way around and basically in a loop. to get all the bolts. I'm going to do it in 2 stages. I don't think it probably needs it, but just to be safe, probably start at 30. And I was looking up specs, and about they're 7/16 studs, so about 55/60 is going to do the trick, I think. So yeah, I'll get into that and we'll move on. Okay, so we got the head torque down. Next, we can put on the rocker gear. So we've got, obviously, this rocker gear here actually came out of the parts tractor. If you remember earlier in a previous video, I had to repair the oil line that comes from the oil pump straight up, that actually goes through the head, comes through here and oils the rockers. So obviously this tractor had been running with no oil going to the rocker gear for quite some time. The other rocker gear is just worn out. All the rockers are really loose on the shaft. It's just all flogged out. We could repair it, obviously, but we have a parts tractor, so why reinvent the wheel when we can just do this one? Also, I have the push rods there, which will have to go in first. They do need a clean up, but that's easy enough. So I'm going to get started on cleaning up those, and then I will drop them in and start bolting down the rocker gear. Here's the rocker shaft on. As you can see, it's all in place. Now, the way this actually works is this shaft's sort of loose in there, and when you tighten them down, it clamps down the shaft and holds it all in place. So I'll see if I can get it to move. You can actually see that it can move and get it in the right place. You can see it's sort of where are we? Misaligned there, where it should be. There's witness marks of where it was originally. So if we can get it all lined up nicely, and then tighten down these 4 nuts, then it will clamp it all down in place. That should get all lubricating holes aligned, because obviously it lubricates up through here and then down the middle of the shaft, and then spits oil out the top, I believe, and then obviously end up with oil everywhere, and everything should be lubricated. So I'll get tightening it all up, getting it all sitting in the right place. Then we'll sit the rock cover on. I actually haven't got any cork for the gasket on the rock cover, so I'll just sit it on for now. And then that's essentially done, other than the cork and the rock cover. Okay, so now we got the top end of the engine essentially reassembled. I want to get this governor back on. I had it all back together. Everything inside's happy. It looks to be good. Of course, I screwed it back together. It had a repair here before where it's got this bolt in it. And then I thought it was all good, screwed it back together, and that piece broke. As you can see, that piece where that bolt goes through should not be missing like that. Actually, there's the piece right there. So the next project is going to be, this is off the other tractor. The actual governor and the internals of a lot of this is not real happy, but this linkage and everything here is all in good nick. So I'm going to try and swap the linkage and all this hat across to this one. And yeah, probably ditch the internals and use the internals of this one into this one. So there's a bit to do there, but that's the next thing. All right, thanks for joining us on this one. As I said, just chipping away at the engine on this 25, trying to get it all back together. So we got the head on, it's torqued down, it's good. Still got to adjust the valves and make a gasket for the rock cover, but that's not a big job. And yeah, as I said, the next thing to get onto is going to be this governor. See if I can swap the guts across and make a good one out of what we've got. And yeah, just got to keep chipping away. So thanks guys, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.